Hey, it's Jared with Gear and Light. Today we're going to talk about 10 things that you should know before going out and buying your first drone. Now, I fly drones professionally. I've been flying drones for, I don't know, about 6, 7 years. I've been flying them professionally for about 4 or 5. And the cameras on these drones are fantastic. And I absolutely love the capabilities that they unlock for creativity and exploration. Drones are just a lot of fun, whether they're more racy style drones, FPV style, that are more for fast and maneuverability, or drones with good cameras that are better for photography and video. They're just a blast. So I've got 10 things that I think that you should know before getting a drone, because it's not just all fun and games. It is a dangerous piece of equipment that you're going to be flying through the air, and I think that there's some things to consider. The number one thing really is to understand which features are important to you in buying a drone. A little drone like this is feature packed considering its size, but there are so many different drones, bigger ones, smaller ones, different shaped drones, quadcopters with 4 props, and drones with more than that, drones with less than that. I mean, there's just a lot of options out there, and every manufacturer is really trying to differentiate themselves to find a customer for their product. So be considering what features are important to you on a drone. Obviously, some of them have really good cameras. Other drones don't have the best cameras, but they're faster and more maneuverable, and some of them hover and just sit there when you're not touching the controls. Other drones have to be controlled at all times and are more of an FPV style drone. And so there's a lot to think about there in the features that would be important to you. Another one that factors into that is budget. Obviously, the more features that you want, the more expensive that drone's going to likely be, and probably even there might be a trade-off there in and how hard it is to fly it. Some drones that are on the cheaper end are a little bit harder to fly because they come with less intelligent features and all of that stuff. So be thinking about the features that are important, and that generally is going to circle around why you want to buy a drone in the first place. If you want to buy a drone because they look fun to fly, that opens you up to a lot more opportunities and possibilities as far as drones go than if you're wanting to get into photography and videography from the sky. That is going to focus you more on camera specific drones that have features that are more in tune with the camera, where yes, the rest of the drone is important, but because you want photo and video as being the most important, that's something to consider. If you're looking for more fun, hobby, maneuverability, flying, and that more FPV style, then you've got the gamut, from building your own drone to small little drones that come ready to run to more elaborate drones that are it's a whole world, and there's a lot to it. So be thinking about that. The number 2 is that camera quality is important, really regardless of what you're going to do. If you're getting into photo and video, obviously camera is extremely important. And on this channel, I'm talking a lot more about drones in regards to photography and video than I am for just flying and getting into the FPV world just for fun. But camera is important, and even if you're getting into FPV, like what you see when you're flying, whether you've got the headset on or you've got a radio, a radio, and you're wanting to see what the drone sees, camera is relatively important. I've been sent some drones that are pretty low quality. I've purchased some pretty low quality drones, and they're just hard to use. And so you have to consider that too. The camera quality is important. Try to get the best camera that you can for your drone, especially if you're getting into it to take pictures and video. Number 3 is that 4K video is kind of becoming the standard on a lot of camera drones. Like this little guy here, the DJI Mini 3 Pro, has a 4K camera on it. And you might be thinking to yourself, well, I don't need 4K. That's too high resolution. I really just want to shoot some decent photos and some video clips. Well, on these cameras, the field of view is so wide, everything looks really far away unless you get up close and personal with it. And the problem with that is that the closer you get to things, the more danger that's involved for the thing and also for your drone. So with 4K, you have this bigger resolution image, and you can actually crop down to HD and it acts just like you're zooming in. And so 4K actually, even if you don't need it, is a benefit because it allows you to crop in and get closer to things without physically getting closer to them. And I think there's a huge benefit to that. Number 4 is that not all drones are created equal. Drones have smart, intelligent features. Most of them do that are camera drones these days, like hovering and return to home, and the range in which you can get away from your control with the drone. And those are things to consider. Depending on what you're wanting to do and how you're wanting to fly, those are important considerations. Will it hover on its own? If you are going to be maybe doing this because you want to shoot photos and video, being able to have the drone hover while you focus on getting your shot put together so that you get the best angle and all of that stuff and you get a nice steady shot. Hover is super important. A little drone like this does a great job at hovering, but also is susceptible to getting beat up by the wind because it's so small. And so on a windy day, this drone is going to struggle to hold still, and that may mean that your photos and video are not going to be as sharp as you would want them to be. And so a bigger drone might be important depending on what you're looking to get into, and one that has a little bit more weight to it so that it can hover better. And that's not just a weight factor, it's also an intelligence factor of the drone systems itself. This drone, being as light as it is, hovers way better than a lot of drones that are 2-3 times its size that are budget drones because of its intelligent features. Return to home is also important. If it does lose contact with your control or the battery is running low, it being able to return to home and land safely is extremely important for the safety of your drone and the safety of other people that are around. Range is also important. How far away can you get from your control without losing video connection or controllability of the drone? A drone like this is going to return to home if it loses connection, and it's also going to have a good range. Now, we're not supposed to fly outside of line of sight anyways, so a drone this small getting too far away is just going to disappear and you aren't going to be able to see it. So you do need to take that into consideration because that's a safety aspect of flying drones. Number 5 is the ease of flying a drone is equal to the ease of crashing a drone. These drones are easy to fly, especially DJI drones with their intelligent features and sensors and all of that stuff. It seems like it's impossible to crash them. And maybe you watch some of these other people who actually try to crash them to test how good these sensors are, and they have a hard time. Well, I'll tell you that in real life scenarios where you're dodging trees or going around things, the sensors do a great job, but they still fail at times. And so you don't want to rely just on sensors. You can have issues there. They are easy to fly, especially DJI drones. They are so easy to fly. People will easily say, like, even a child could fly one of these drones. And yes, my children have flown my DJI drones, but they are equally easy to crash. The sensors don't always save you. Number 6 is that you need to know that courtesy or being courteous with a drone is one of the most important things that you can do. Drones can easily frustrate people. When you put a drone up in the air, I don't know, people get an uneasy feeling. It doesn't matter what you do. I've shot countless real estate properties. People come out of their houses and start looking around because they hear the buzzing, and it's just an uneasy feeling. A lot of people fear, maybe the noise, where the noise come from. I think most people fear that their privacy is being invaded upon by a drone flying around. And some people just get really angry when it comes to drones. So while that's a thing too, and like maybe they just at times just need to chill out because we're just trying to have fun, or I'm trying to capture photos for a real estate property. At the same time, we don't want more people calling into the FAA complaining. We don't want more people reporting drones for whatever reason. And so we just want to be courteous so that we can continue to have fun with these and not have issues because too many people are calling and complaining or whatnot for really no reason at all. Number 7 is that you don't have to go outside to practice flying a drone. DJI drones also come with the DJI control, and you can connect that to your phone, and then you can use a simulator app and fly your drone or fly a fake drone in a simulator from the comfort of your own home. There are also games for the PC, games for Xbox and stuff that are drone sim games where you're flying drones and stuff like that. And getting used to the controls, while they might be a little bit different, because the control on an Xbox is different than the control on a DJI drone, you're getting used to the way that a drone moves and those movements and your reaction times in making those movements. And so you don't have to go outside to practice. And I actually think it's smarter to use a simulator, because when you want to try and go faster and turn harder and do different movements and stuff with your drone, it's much easier and cheaper to crash a fake drone in a video game than it is to crash a real drone, because you're testing out this new move or something that you wanted to try in real life. And so utilize the app that DJI has that is a sim or video game sims, so that you can practice and get comfortable with those movements, because it is a lot of finger dexterity and thinking, because you're not only moving forward or side to side, you're turning, your altitude is changing, you're wanting to take a picture. There's lots of things to think about when you're flying a drone. And a lot of times people end up crashing drones because it is sensory overload for us when we're trying to do all of those things at once. Number 8 is that if you buy a drone that weighs 250 grams or more, you have to register it with the FAA here in the United States. And in other countries, not all countries have the same rules, but a lot of other countries have the same similar rule. And so DJI and a lot of drones have come out with drones that weigh 249 grams. It's just 1 gram below the limit. And so this drone here in particular does not have to be registered in order to fly for hobby, fun purposes and stuff like that. So if all I'm doing is buying a drone to go out and just enjoy flying a drone, this drone I do not have to register. I could just go and fly it as long as I'm following the basic laws, which I'll rattle off a few of them at the end of this video. I'm fine. But if it's 250 grams or more, then I have to register it with the FAA. And there's more to those rules than that, but registration is an issue. And so if you're looking just to get into it for a hobby, I consider a smaller drone that doesn't have to be registered. If you're wanting something with more features and a better camera, it's probably going to weigh more than 250 grams, and you're probably going to have to register it. Number 9, do you want to make money with your drone? That's another consideration and something that you're going to have to think about. You will have to get your Part 107 license for flying drones here in the United States, which means studying and taking a test, and then you're certified. That certification is good and does not expire as long as you do a little bit of drone education every couple of years and keep that current. You have your drone license for life now. There's no having to retest or anything like that. And so that allows you to be able to take a drone like this or bigger and go out and make money. And I've actually made a video on the topic, even though it's specific to this drone, the DJI Mini 3 Pro. It talks a lot about how you can make money with drones. And then I also have a video on some tips to help you pass your Part 107. So I'll make sure that those videos are linked up so that you can check them out if you're considering making money with a drone. The last thing is to be safe and smart and don't ruin it for everyone else. Drones, all of the oversight that came in with drones happened because the popularity exploded. People were out there making mistakes, flying where they shouldn't be, crashing them, doing things that they shouldn't be doing with the drones. And so the FAA came in and said, whoa, hey, this is up in the air. That's our deal. So we're going to control this. And now they continue to add more and more control and oversight. And it's getting kind of annoying, but it's what happens when something like this takes off and goes into the air and crashes, or people don't use it responsibly. And so it's important to be responsible, be safe and smart with your drone so that you don't add to the numbers that makes FAA feel like they need to have more oversight on these things. When a drone falls out of the sky and hits somebody or hits something that it shouldn't have hit, or it's flown in an area that is off limits because somebody didn't pay attention and wasn't following the rules, all of those things add up to the government needing to step in and provide more oversight, which limits our ability to use drones and enjoy them for those of us that are responsible. So don't ruin it for everyone else. Be safe and smart. Here are a couple of drone laws that are important for you to know. These are bonuses. Number one was, yes, you have to register your drone with the FAA if it weighs 250 grams or more. You need to stay at least 5 miles away from airports and be considerate of airports, private airports, and all of that stuff. Smaller, like private airports, probably aren't going to show up on a lot of drones maps, and so you just need to be aware of your environment. Don't fly more than 400 feet above the ground. That doesn't sound like very high, but it actually is pretty high. I'm able to fly a drone up to 400 feet and capture most of a neighborhood from the drone, and so that's pretty high. And over 400 feet is off limits because airplanes, helicopters, stuff like that belong in airspace above 400 feet. Can you fly a drone higher than that? Are they capable? Yes. Before that, with 400-foot deal was a rule, I would fly my drone up to 2,000 feet. That's very high. No need to take it up that high. It is fun to take it up that high, but now that it's not legal to take it up that high, I just simply can't do that. And it's 400 feet above the ground, not 400 feet altitude. So 400 feet above whatever area, or 400 feet above objects and stuff like that too. So if you have to fly over the top of something, the 400 feet is above the ground, wherever the ground it is that you're standing on. Don't fly over people without permission. Don't fly over government facilities. Don't fly in national parks. State parks, however, is a per state rule and per park rule. So just look into it. It's cool that you can fly in state parks. Don't fly over private property, fires, crime scenes, and last but not least, if you're ever approached by the police, just be kind and be polite and don't frustrate the police officer, because you just want to be out there having fun flying your drone and you don't want any trouble, and you don't want to create any trouble either. You just want to be out there enjoying. And chances are, if a police officer is going to talk to you, it's because some person somewhere called. And if you can rattle off some rules like, hey, well, I'm maintaining line of sight, I'm below 400 feet, this drone is below 250 grams, so it's just for hobby purposes, so I don't have to have it registered. You're telling the police officer, I know what I'm doing, I'm being responsible, and I'm not doing anything wrong. And the police officer is going to look at you and say, okay, cool, yeah, you're not doing anything wrong. Someone called just to let you know, maybe don't go over there. And then you go on and you just enjoy flying the drone for however much longer battery life you have, and it's time to go home. That is just being a good member of society with something that is fun, something that is starting to get oversight, and we just want to be out there enjoying drones and having fun and flying and maybe making money at it if that's what you're wanting to do. But if we all just look at this as an opportunity to enjoy life and be smart about it, we're going to continue to be able to do that for a long time. That's going to do it for this video. Thanks so much. Make sure to check out the links down below. I've got links to a couple of drones that I love to fly and those videos as well that I mentioned earlier. But that's going to do it. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to the channel to be notified when I put out new videos. Hope to see you in the next one soon. Take care.